Yeah, because they are so does he like what
Right, but I'm trying to understand who said that if somebody is mentally unstable will go to hell. Somebody said that? Psychologist said that? Won't go to hell?
She's saying if somebody's mentally unstable, they're not liable for their actions, so they won't go to hell.
Okay. So is that like, to draw parallel to somebody like Gaddafi or... So obviously if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is just and holds people to very well-defined standard of justice. So obviously if you're unaware of events around you, if you're unaware of the course of actions that you're taking and your behavior and so on, obviously you're not going to be held accountable. Otherwise that would, conflict with the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most just. So that does make sense. But if this is some sort of, play on the scenario in Libya or what's taking place, these people like Gaddafi and others, they are crazy because they chose to be crazy, because they acting all crazy because they have less fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they have a lot of fear for their own selves and their families and so on and so forth. It's very, very important for us to call these oppressors and these tyrants and these fears by their names and to make sure that we do not align with them, anybody who supports any of these regimes or whatever, they need to make immediate tawbah. And they were called by many shuyukh to again side with the people. That was the call that we made many times in the rallies. We said side with the people, Mr. President, side with the people, take a principled position. Don't side with dictators, don't side with tyrants. The people have spoken, the people have sacrificed, the people have raised a flag for liberty and so on and so forth. Very, very important for us to take a principled position at all times. وَلَا يَجْرِمَنَّكُمْ شَنَآنُ قَوْمٍ عَلَىٰ أَلَّا تَعْدِلُوا. Let not the animosity between you and another set or group of people come to stop you from being just. اعْدِلُوا أَقْرَبُ لِلتَّقْوَى. Be just. Stand for justice. It's closest to taqwa and piety and righteousness. Important for us to remember these many lessons. I mean, if Rami lets me, I'm going to go on for the next 2 hours. But this is tons of lessons here. It's extremely important to be aware and conscious of these lessons because this is tarbiyah in action. We've read these things in books. We read the ayat of the Quran many times. But the ayah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala amongst the believers are men, true men, and not limited to gender, true men and women in Surah Al-Ahzab. Amongst the believers are true men and women. صَدَقُوا مَا عَاهَدُوا اللَّهَ عَلَيْهِ. They were steadfast, truthful, fulfilled the terms of the covenant that they have taken with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ قَضَى نَحْبَهُ. Amongst them are people who have passed away. The shuhada of Libya. We have no accurate account. 2,000 so far or 2,000 plus. We have about 600 in Egypt and so many in Tunisia and so on. 300 or less than 300. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ قَضَى نَحْبَهُ. Amongst them those who have passed away. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَنْتَظِرُ. And amongst them are those who await the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They are out there on the streets of Tripoli, a city that is conquered by fear. If you stick your head out of where you live or you come out in the streets, if you dare pray Jum'ah prayer today in Tripoli, the fard of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the fard that every single able and mature Muslim male and encouraged for females that attend the fard, people cannot go to pray. And if you are amongst these people, منهم من ينتظر, those who await the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with steadfastness, with this desire, to sacrifice. It's a whole culture, a whole philosophy. It's the school of Palestine. That's what school is all about, the school of Gaza. These are the people who told the Arab and the Muslim world, the school of Kashmir. These are the schools that told all of us philosophy of shahada, philosophy of taking a principal position, being steadfast for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One more inshallah. So a couple more. Yes, go ahead.
You know how you said Arab countries that have been facing capitalism. So before, right, Cuba had a revolution back in 1950s, and they took out the dictator, right? And they thought they were going to have a new democracy. It ended up being the easiest way. Like, they got votes. What they did was they got elections, people say stuff about dictatorship. They didn't get a democracy. They came back to dictatorship. So what is just a revolution, just a new state for a new president to come in? Maybe I believe one thing and then do the other, like we live in America now. We believe in democracy, but it's still the same thing. It's still corrupt.
So an excellent point. We have a major issue here. That is, the half revolutions. So let's understand two things, two variables. Are you with me so far? You're focusing? Two things. One, who starts the revolution? The people in this case. It's not the army. 1952 Egypt, it was the army. Other places, it was the army. So the army takes the credit. The army hugs, the authority and hugs, all these different positions of authority and so on. And very difficult for them to let go because they're the ones who started it. In this case, who started it? The people. Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets. These are the people who started it. So they're guarding it very cautiously and very diligently. So today in Egypt and in Tunisia, they want to make sure they have representation and so on and so forth. But what if you have that scenario, a sort of half revolution? That is most dangerous because you did not run the course. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised you that reward when you fulfill the course, when you run the distance. You ran out of breath and you didn't go all the way. So you end up suffering the consequences, like replaced by another military government. Instead of having a king, now you have a president, so-called, who for 30 years, in case of Mubarak, 33 years in case of Yemen's Saleh, 42 years in case of Gaddafi's Libya, 23 years in case of Ben Ali's, Tunis's Ben Ali. And these people are passing it. Who's supposed to be ruling Libya if it was not for this revolution? Saiful Islam. Who's Saiful Islam? The sword of Islam. Who's the so-called sword of Islam? Contrary to many of us might believe, it's not Hamza. It's the son of Gaddafi who's going to take over. Who's next to rule Egypt? Gamal Mubarak, the son of Mubarak, and so on. Who is going to Ahmed bin Ali Saleh in Yemen, and so on and so forth. So you replace one corrupt system with another corrupt system. The people have to take a stand. The people have to define the argument, and this is what I talked about. Frame the argument. What are you out there to do? We're out there to do, these are our demands, this is what we're trying to achieve. We are determined to run the course. If you half do it, you're going to get half result, maybe no result. I'll end with this, inshallah. Jazakumullah khairan. I apologize if I did not entertain any other questions, but I have to abide by the rules of Ramadan.
Brother Sheikh. Inshallah ta'ala, we're gonna, because we're a little bit back on the schedule, inshallah ta'ala, we're gonna go right into Brother Amar's talk. Brother Amar is 24 years old from Jersey, NJIT. He graduated with a master's degree in engineering, I believe. Second time meeting him, actually, I met him once before. We wanted to just welcome him. Just a quick announcement. I know, maybe some people are, they have to talk or have a phone call or something. Just please, for me, I don't mind if you guys want to talk during my talks. But for brothers that were getting from Jersey, they paid, $8 to come over the Gothels Bridge. And they left 11, I'm sorry, and then they got to pay $13 going back, and they left their families. They could have been doing a lot of funner things on a Friday night. I hope in a halal way, but just give them. I hope discussing him in a way, but you have to please give them respect. So if you have to make a call or talk, just please go outside. You can just go outside and make your call. Please just be very respectful. Jazakallah khairan, brother.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. It's clearly that Rami mashallah has problems with Jersey people. I don't know when is the first time we met, but I know. I don't know if he knows or not. Actually, I stayed. Huh?
He was in my room.
Yeah, I was with him in the room in the TAM convention 2 years ago. So I'm the Jersey boy in the room with the New Yorker, and I'm trying to be nice with him, and like, hey, what's going on? Assalamu alaikum. And he's like, I'm watching baseball, hold on. And I'm trying to connect.
Oh, the Yankees were playing.
Yes, the Yankees are playing. Here we go. More important than brother, I guess.
They won the World Series, by the way, that year.
But
Takbir for the Yankees.
Takbir for the Yankees. So, there's a lot he remembers still. Great. Jazakumullah khair for inviting a Jersey person to Brooklyn. And it's a great honor to be here. Actually, it's the first time for me to do something important in Brooklyn, I guess. There isn't that much to do here. No, okay, I'm just kidding. And, before I start, inshallah, I would love all of you guys, inshallah, to make sincere dua to one of our great mass members, Brother Zaid Abbasi. His wife is going through a really critical time right now. She's been fighting cancer for the past 3 years, and reached a point right now that we hope, inshallah, with all their dua, that they can pass this point. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them, inshallah, grant sister to have a full recovery from this, but please don't forget them in your dua. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wassalam ala rasulillah. So I'm not going to go too much into the history, as alhamdulillah, jazakallah khair, Brother Sharif went in details, but I'm just going to stop on some points and try to analyze them together. So please, this is going to be something that we do it together, inshallah. So please just pay attention, and I'm going to try to, inshallah, make it as short as possible. Looking at what's been going on, I would see there's only one common thing throughout history. Why the Sahaba stood up for their rights, and why did the Tabi'een fought in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and why those revelation and uprights happened. There's still a lot of people talking. If you don't mind, please. I'm not going to take too much of your time, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. It's going to be quick, and if it's boring, please just stop me and tell me, time out, Jersey boy, you're out of here. So, looking back, even in the history of the Sahaba, the time when the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in the early times of Islam, there was only one thing that all of these Sahaba were fighting, which is oppression. And it was a clear message to them that we're not gonna let oppression oppress us and prevent us from doing what we need to do. And this is exactly why millions of people in all the Arab world start up this rise up. And the sisters, it's going to be quick, inshallah. Just hold your breath, inshallah. If you want to talk for 2 seconds, and then so that we focus, we're good? Okay. So oppression, that is something that the Sahaba did not let it affect their lives, and they took it upon themselves that it's something that we're going to fight, and we're going to fight to the last breath. But what empowered all these Sahabas to stand up for oppression? Something extremely clear. The Sahaba knew exactly where they're going, and in business they tell you have to have a clear goal and a clear objective. What was the objective of the Sahaba? Is to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if someone did not have that, he says, oh Wallahi, I want to enter Jannah. And if someone didn't have that, he said, oh Wallahi, I just want to get done with this world and all that pressure, and so on and so forth. So it's levels. But they had that clear objective, that I don't want oppression. And to fight this oppression, then I'm definitely going to go to something even better than that. So that's why the Sahaba, when some of them died, for them was extremely clear that I'm going to go to somewhere even better. And it's exactly like a person, when you drop a beloved person to the airport. It's a really sad moment when you're leaving him, but you know that this person is going to go probably somewhere nicer. So that concept that the Sahaba had, that this dunya is just a small, we're meeting for extremely short period of time, but then when it's left to us, it's a lot better. That's why they were extremely solid and empowered on what they wanted to do. And learning from the history, and after the sign that I saw here, and how Brother Sharif emphasized the fact that we have to learn history before we